I haven't seen my husband in 6 years. It all started on the morning of our 3rd wedding anniversary. The day started just as I had expected. As it was our anniversary, I knew exactly what to expect. I would walk down the stairs to a breakfast of bacon with sunny-side-up eggs and a slice of toast with strawberry preserves, all served beside a single red rose. It was always a sweet and exciting sentiment, but entirely predictable. You see, my husband liked to keep things as routine as possible. He functioned like a piece of machinery. Up for work at 4, morning coffee precisely at 4:30, breakfast at 5, lunch at 11:30, dinner at 6, and bed at 9. Everything, right down to the way he methodically brushed his teeth, was planned in advance and executed in the exact same way, every day. I was a stay-at-home wife, and as such, I was expected to maintain a tidy home and prepare the meals. White walls, white carpet, gray furniture. Very plain, very sterile. Dinner was to be an unseasoned chicken breast and a baked potato with nothing on it. His packed lunch was to always be 2 slices of deli meat on white bread with a small cup of applesauce. And for breakfast, he expected oatmeal, plain oatmeal, at exactly room temperature. So you can see why our anniversary breakfast was such a thrill. Any deviation from his normal routine would upset him terribly. I can remember a time when I bought seasoned chicken breast by accident. I served it anyway. I had hoped that he wouldn't mind all that much, and truthfully, I was excited for something a little different. I caught hell for that one. He was absolutely irate as he scolded me. His voice was bellowing like thunder. I had never seen that side of him. He had become unhinged, throwing furniture and pounding the walls with both fists. Shaking and in tears, I begged him to calm down. My husband was a man of intimidating stature, and I feared that everything would go from bad to worse. "Please, I just wanted something different," I shouted. He stopped, dead in his tracks. His face softened, and his fiery scowl had reshaped itself into a slight smile. He raised his eyebrows in a look of pity. He pulled me into his arms and played with my hair as my head rested against his chest. "Don't worry," he said. "I'll fix that." There was just something about the way he spoke those words that sent chills down my spine. I made sure to buy plain chicken breast from that point on. Anything he wanted, however he wanted it. That's exactly what he got. I cowered, and I bent to his every whim. I lived that way for years, but eventually I grew tired of it. I felt as if I was going mad in the prison he had made for me. I had to do something, even if it resulted in another fit of rage. Having decided that some color would do me well, I bought some vibrant throw pillows for the couch and matching curtains from the local market, alongside a mountain of groceries for dinner. This was my chance. At least for tonight, I would have whatever I wanted, however I wanted it. Decorations, dinner. My husband rolled in at the same time as usual. I was just finishing the last dish when the front doorknob turned and the door swung open. He was met with an array of powerful smells. Shrimp scampi, curried beef, fried rice, pork tacos, quite literally a buffet. I could hear him pause at the front door. I was anticipating the worst. I could hear his footsteps walking into the living room where I had placed the colorful decorations. He remained silent. I could feel the pressure building in my chest as fear began to tighten my throat. I was already seated at our set table, and as he entered the dining area, our eyes met. He simply shot me a brief smile and took his seat at the table. Having not received the lashing I expected, I excitedly stood and plated our dinners. I set the plate in front of him. He made no remark. It was almost as if he was seeing his usual chicken and potato. I sat across from him and began eating, and to my surprise, he did the same. He lifted his fork and took a bite, then another and another until his plate had been cleared. I savored the moment. As I took my last bite, he smiled lovingly at me. Perhaps he'd realized how harsh he had been previously. Maybe he'd come to his senses. "I noticed that you did a little decorating today, dear." My pulse began to race. "Yes, do you like it?" He didn't answer me. And dinner was eventful. He stood. I could see the veins bulging across his temples. I knew what was coming. I jumped to my feet and began explaining. "Please, honey, I just needed some diversity in my life. He placed his finger over my lips in a hushing manner. My knees were shaking as he slowly walked behind me. He placed his hands on my shoulders and tenderly placed me back in my seat. He whispered, "Don't worry, I'll fix that." He placed a kiss on my forehead, then simply went off to bed. I stayed at the table for some time, trying to decipher what had taken place. Was I safe? Would I enter the bedroom and be met with a terrible demise? I waited until I could hear him softly snoring before I slid into bed. As I did, he woke slightly and placed his arm around my waist. A sense of peace came over me. I had won. The next morning, I woke to the smell of bacon permeating the house. You see, it was our anniversary, and per usual, my husband had prepared our anniversary breakfast. I stepped out of bed and stretched, preparing to greet him downstairs. But this morning was somehow different. I wouldn't be walking downstairs to join him for a warm and hearty breakfast. I wouldn't be going anywhere. The bedroom door had been barred over with huge steel rods, the windows had been bricked in, and everything had been covered in a coat of white paint, making the room a blinding and barren cell. A security camera loomed in the corner of the bedroom, taunting me. Painted in black between the steel rods were 3 words. I fixed it. As I read this, a small chamber at the base of the door popped open, and in slid a bowl of room temperature oatmeal. Sometimes I still plead to the security camera, begging him to be freed, but it's to no avail. I haven't seen my husband in 6 years, but he is always watching me.